Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing fine. I am Metin Özdemir from the Department of Basic English. In this video, we are going to practice listening handout 7. More specifically, we are going to have a look at how to write a performance task. The first part of the video will last around 15 minutes. And I'll give you enough time to listen, read, and answer the questions. Don't worry. And my suggestion is keep watching the video without pausing. But if you need to listen to the tracks one more time, please download the relevant ones from the student's page. So far, you have practiced how to take notes and write organized paragraphs using your notes. You also have practiced how to distinguish between relevant pieces of information and irrelevant ones. And finally, you have integrated the relevant parts from the long texts into your writing in your writing handouts. Now, it is time to bring these listening and reading skills together in writing. In a performance task, first you will need to listen to a lecture. Then you will be asked to read a text. Finally, you will integrate or connect the ideas in the listening and reading text to write a formal text of about 300 words. There are some points I would like to make before I start talking about the handout in detail. First, you need to take good notes on the main points and necessary details while listening to lectures. Second, you will read a text or pieces of text on the same topic as the lecture, but from a different perspective. I will give you more information about what I mean by different perspective later. Third, you need to determine the connection between the information in the listening text and the reading text. Finally, you will write a summary of the points in the lecture and texts by integrating them. Please do not include your own ideas or comments in your writing while doing the task. Alright, in a performance task, you need to write an introduction first. In the introduction, the topics of the listening and reading text are introduced. For example, the listening may talk about the causes of global warming, while the text might focus on the effects of it. Again, more information on that later. After the introduction, it is time to write our body paragraphs. In the body paragraphs, you will need to include all key information from the lecture and relevant pieces of information from the reading text. Conclusion is not a must in the performance task. This part is optional, but if you would like to write a conclusion, you need to paraphrase or reword the introduction in this paragraph. What do we expect from the students while they are doing the task? Alright, in the performance task, you are expected to use a variety of language structures and a wide range of vocabulary with correct collocations. You are also expected to mention the sources. In other words, you need to state what the lecture and the reading say. We will talk more on that later. When you are writing about the ideas in the reading text, avoid direct lifting. You need to reword or paraphrase the ideas in the reading text. Again, do not include your personal ideas or comments in your writing. Remember, I said earlier that the lecture and the reading text were about the same topic, but from a different perspective. And I told you that I would give you more information about different perspective. Let's see what the lecture and the reading text generally focus on. As you can see, the first one is introduction of a concept or classification. For example, you might listen to a lecture on marketing strategies. The lecture will talk about these strategies and classify them. The reading text will then focus on some examples of these strategies and mention some companies that use these strategies. This is the first one, classification and examples. The second one is advantage or disadvantage. If the lecture is about, for example, the advantages of online education, Then the reading will be about the disadvantages of this type of education. Or this could be the opposite. The lecture may talk about the disadvantages while the reading text mentions the advantages. Similar to the advantage and disadvantage of something, the lecture may be about the positive aspects of social media, for example, while the reading will be about the negative aspects of social media or vice versa. When it comes to problems and solutions, the lecture might mention some problems. For example, the lecture will talk about the problems that college students face during their first year at university, while the reading text will provide some solutions to overcome these problems. Finally, the lecture may focus on the causes of something and the reading text will mention the effects of it. The lecture might give information on the causes of global warming and the reading text might be about the effects of it. In general, this is how the lecture and the reading texts are organized in performance tasks. I hope that with some examples you will understand how to write performance tasks better. Now, let's have a look at some examples. You will listen to a short lecture and then read a short text to determine the relationship between them. Here is the first practice.
Lower Intermediate Group. Performance Task. Task 1. Listen to the short texts, read the short pieces of information, and then identify the type of relationship between the two pieces of information. Practice 1. A. Listen to the text. What is the text mainly about? Choose the best answer.
Two of the most basic personality types are extroverts and introverts. Extroverts are people who look outwards. They are friendly, sociable, talkative, enthusiastic, and self-confident. They're interested in a range of experiences and enjoy spending time with other people. They tend to act first and then think later. When extroverts feel bad, unmotivated, or without energy, they look outside themselves. This means they might go shopping, call friends, or have a party. Typical extrovert jobs are politics, sales, teaching, and management. Introverts, on the other hand, tend to look inwards. They're usually pretty quiet, and they do not prefer the company of others. They're thinkers.
Alright, the answer to the question is A. Classification. Why classification? Let's look at the audio script together. When we look at the audio script, we see that the lecturer is talking about the introduction of a concept, which focuses on the characteristics of extroverts and introverts. And he classifies these concepts by talking about what these people are like and how they behave or socialize. Therefore, the answer is classification. After the lecture, it is time to have a look at the reading text. Please read the text now and answer the question. You will have 45 seconds. Begin reading now. The answer to this question is example. Remember that the lecture talked about the characteristics of extroverted and introverted people. And the reading text provides an example of a sports person who is Muhammad Ali. When we keep reading, it is clear that Muhammad Ali fits the extroverted classification. Now we are going to move on to the next listening. But before we move on, let's have a look at two vocabulary items that are necessary to understand the lecture better. As you can see, the first one is inhibition, which means a shy or nervous feeling that stops you from expressing your own ideas. When you have inhibition, you can't clearly express your concerns or ideas. Please have a look at the example sentences. The second one is impression. Impression means an idea, a feeling, or an opinion that you get about somebody. If you leave a good impression, then people will like you. Now that we have practiced these words and collocations, we are ready to move on to the second lecture. Listen to the text and choose the best answer.
Practice 2. A. Listen to the text. What is the text mainly about? Choose the best answer.
Well, extroverts seem to be able to find jobs more easily. Well, they do not have inhibitions, you see, so they can market themselves easily in job interviews, for instance. They can leave a good impression quickly and are usually remembered for their relaxed behavior and joyful appearance. They talk to others easily and show their interest in others. And the other people just enjoy this and are more open to such people. Also,
the answer to this question is advantages. Okay, let's have a look at the script. Here, we understand that extroverts can find jobs more easily. They can express their feelings openly because they do not have inhibitions. And they are good at job interviews. Also, they seem joyful and relaxed. Therefore, the lecture focuses on the advantages to being an extroverted person. What about the reading? Please have a look at the reading text. Now, you will have 45 seconds to read and answer the question. Begin reading now. The answer to this question is disadvantages. Why? Let's see. There are some keywords or sentences that help us. In the first line, we see that these people may not be preferred. First, they are seen as a threat at work, and it is difficult for these people to show empathy towards other people. Also, we see that companies might prefer to hire people who are not outgoing or sociable. With these ideas in the reading text, the answer is disadvantages. Alright, that's the end of the first part. See you in the second part.